Hi, Austin Seeley with Leverage Fitness Solutions. I'm a personal trainer, corrective exercise specialist, and joint replacement specialist. And today I want to talk to you about foam rolling and why you should be doing it every day. So let's jump out into the lab and talk about how they work, why they work, and when you should do it. While foam rollers aren't very complicated tools because they're literally a cylindrical foam, they can have a big impact on your athletic performance and mobility if you use them right. So let's go back to why it's necessary in the first place and talk about your muscles. Muscles can get tight after a workout or a labor of any kind, and generally it goes away within a couple of days. But if you work out consistently or have a job with a lot of repetitive motions, you might find that you're just feeling tight, you're just not moving as good as you used to, or your muscles might be sore to the touch, and that's because you have developed what's called trigger points and fascial adhesions. So what are they? Well, trigger points and fascial adhesions are the normal progression of your body trying to protect itself. No matter what you're doing, whether it be basketball, strength training, cardio, any of those kinds of things, you're putting trauma into your muscles when you move. That trauma elicits a pain response and also elicits a protective mechanism where your body essentially sends more tension into that area to try and protect itself. And if not taken care of, your body will start to form these adhesions very similar to scar tissue and essentially immobilize the muscle tissue, making your mobility go down and the blood flow in the area decrease. So looking back at that protective mechanism, we have to find a way to turn that off and engage the healing process. And inside of each of your muscles, there's a lot of different things, but there's this protective organ named a Golgi tendon organ. The Golgi tendon organ, or GTO for short, is responsible for sensing the amount of exertion going on in your muscle. So for example, if you're lifting a weight and you're lifting heavier than your body's built-in governor will allow, it will inhibit the muscle and inhibit the ability to actually move. Now the foam roller comes into play. So when you apply direct pressure to a muscle and the trigger point responsible for the pain in the area, you stimulate these GTOs and essentially turn the brain's neural stimulus or inhibit the brain's neural stimulus to keep that part of the muscle tight. Now that we've learned what foam rollers do, let's show you some videos on how they work and the best procedures to use them effectively. So when looking at how to foam roll, the basic prescription is that you want to do it every day and you want to hold every spot that's tight for about 15 to 30 seconds. And we want to focus on these 5 areas. So we're going to jump first into the calves. Your calves are extremely important because that is your gateway to the ground. That is how you move. So, if this particular muscle gets tight, it'll start to affect your knees, it'll start to affect your hips and your gait cycle, and that's no good. So, when we look at how to foam roll, I want you to start with this little windshield wiper technique. And when you find a spot that actually hurts, stop on it and spend about 15 seconds there. Move the foam roller up with your leg, and again, every time you find a spot that's tight and hurts, stop there, take a few deep breaths. Now, fair warning on this one. The IT band is a very painful area because there's a lot of tension running through it. So it's a very important area to foam roll, but it's not exactly fun. You're going to start off by getting onto the foam roller, laying it right underneath that bump in your hip, sticking your leg across the front, and then you're going to use that leg to help you roll up and down. And again, we're not bread rolling, we're not just moving up and down the leg. We're finding those tight spots, stopping on them, taking a few deep breaths. An advanced technique for this one is bending the knee, giving it a little bit of that floss to help break up more of that scar tissue. To get into these quad muscles, first we want to have you start by turning over, putting the foam roller directly under your thighs, and applying your full body weight into your quads. Now, key note here for low back pain users. Make sure you don't just drop your belly down to the floor. Keep a nice straight back so that you don't put any extra pressure on your low back. Then, just like the other techniques, sitting there applying pressure. And with this one, to get that extra floss, you want to bend your knee on top of those trigger points to break up that scar tissue. When foam rolling your glutes, the most important part is that you get the technique down. And the one that I found that works the best is the figure 4 that I'm showing here. So I'm foam rolling my left glute. So my left leg is going up onto my right knee so I can get a better crush on those spots. Then with my left hand on the floor, I roll left and right on that foam roller to get different pieces of the glute. And lastly, your upper back. So this one's actually okay to do a bit more of a sweeping roll from the top to bottom, but I prefer to also throw in some thoracic extensions. So you put your butt on the ground and then really reach over the roller, trying to get as much of that spine to wrap around and kind of break loose some of that scar tissue, break off some of the rust, and gain some thoracic mobility. So, keynote here, you don't go on the low back. You stop at the bottom of your ribs and then you work your way up to the bottom of your neck. And that's the only place you foam roll on the back. Now you know a lot more about foam rollers and how to use them, and I hope this has been a good educational video for you. I'd love to hear in the comments if you have any questions, and if you need any more information or would like to enroll with us, please go to leveragefitness.com. And thanks.